everybody. As promised, I've put a class together for you all, hopefully to keep you mobile and motivated while we're in this troubled time. So we're going to start with a warm-up and then go into a basic class today, and then hopefully as we go along with the videos we can start to progress. So I hope you're all safe and well, and hopefully you'll enjoy this and we can keep going forwards. So we're going to start off with our warm-up as always, just to make sure we're all mobilised before we get going. So all four corners of the feet evenly distributed on the floor, knees slightly soft, hips, pelvis, spine, nice neutral alignment, chest is open, shoulders are down and away from the ears, chin is centred and parallel to the floor. Just quickly run through our breathing. So we take our hands towards the side of our rib cage. We're going to take a nice deep breath in here. Engage the core, pull up the pelvic floor. Then as you breathe out, remember, try and hold on to that by about 30% with that engagement, and then drop the arms back down by the side. We're going to start by mobilising the top part of the spine, so take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, turn your head towards the right. Keep the shoulders facing forwards, take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, go round towards the left. And again, all the way back round towards the right for me. And then one more time, all the way back round towards the left. This time, drop that chin down here and circle. Trying to keep the core engaged as you do this. Mobilising the top part of the spine is very important here. So keep that core engaged as you drop that chin towards the chest. Circle round here towards the other side, and then bring it all the way back again towards this side. So bring the chin back towards the centre. Dropping that chin down towards the chest, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, go up towards the ceiling, all the way back down again here for me if you can. Try and keep that core engagement as we do this, and then bring that chin back towards the centre. Let's move on to the shoulders. We're going to roll them shoulders forward, trying to loosen up around this area, and then we're going to go back the other way. Keeping them shoulders coming away from the ears if possible. Core's engaged, we're going to start to lift up through the elbows, mobilising through them shoulders, and then go up into a nice long strong arm there. Pull that belly button towards the spine, breathe in at the bottom, breathe out as you lift, trying to get that nice big stretch up to open the rib cage, and then bring them arms back down. We're going to start with the right arm coming forwards and then the left, trying to move into the middle part of the spine here. Nice long strong arms if you can, and then we're going to go into the bend and stretch, trying to lengthen them arms forwards to mobilise the middle part of that back. Keep the core engaged as you take the arm up over the head there. Nice long strong arm if you can, getting that stretch from the waist and the lower spine, and then with the right arm take it over and hold. If possible, bring that arm back down by the side, slide it all the way back over. Lifting that heel there to try and increase the stretch. Thinking about the core engagement as you do this. 2 to go for me if you can. And then bring the arm back by the side. Feet in a little bit here, left arm forwards, then the right. Core's engaged, nice long strong arm for me if you can. And then if possible, we're going to go into that bend and stretch there. Lengthen across to move that middle part of the back. Keeping the core engaged if you can, we're going to take that arm up above the head. Nice long strong arm here if you can. Then with the left arm, take it over and hold. Core's engaged, arm comes down by the side. Slide this hand down the side of the leg there. Feel that stretch through the waist and the lower spine. Trying to increase that stretch nice and gradually if you can. One more, and then bring that arm back by the side. So the feet coming closer to hip width apart, feet facing forward. We're going to move into the hips and knees here. Sit down into the squat. Keep them heels on the floor. Nice long strong arms if you can. Keeping that core engaged to keep the back nice and strong. One more like this, we're going to bring in the knee raise. So right leg first comes up, then the left. Trying to bring that knee up to hip height. Nice long strong arms if you can. Then hold that right leg up here. So into our balance. If the balance isn't good, you can drop the foot towards the floor, remember. If you can lift it up, we're going to extend the leg forwards, come back in. Nice, long, strong leg there for me if you can, using that thigh strength. Extend and hold, then take that leg around there to use that hip and pelvis. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, come through. Extend that leg again for me. Core engaged. If it's bad the balance, you can drop it towards the floor, remember. Go all the way around towards the back. One more time here, bring it through. Extend that leg nice and long and strong. Finding that balance difficult, lower it towards the floor. Hold it here for me one more time. Take it round towards the back. Soften them knees if you can there to try and mobilise still through the hips and pelvis. And then if you want to bring in that balance, you can bring that knee forwards again if you need to. Try to keep that back knee soft for me. One more time, and then bring that foot back in line. So we're going to go back into the squat, heels on the floor, keeping that core engaged. Trying to get that stretch through the back of the legs while still mobilising through them shoulders. Then we're going to bring that knee back in again. Left leg first this time. Coming up. Using that core strength to bring in that knee forwards. Then this time hold that left leg up for me if you can. Extend forwards. Come back in. Trying to get that leg length there for me to use them core muscles. Extend and hold all the way around towards the back. Let's bring that leg through if we can. Remember, if the balance isn't there, you can drop it towards the floor. We're going to lift up and extend. Trying to keep that core strength if we can. Extend and hold again, all the way around towards the back. One more time if you can, bring it through. Really important to mobilise through the hips and pelvis. One more time, extend, go all the way around towards the back, and then if possible, bring them feet back in line. So the last stretch will be for our spine to get towards the floor. Coming towards the end of your mat, let's make sure feet are hip width apart. Get the shoulders away from the ears, keep the core engaged. You can go down in stages if you feel that you need to warm the back up first. Don't feel you have to go straight towards the floor. So breathing in, we're going to drop the chin. As you breathe out, pull the belly button towards the spine, slide the hands down towards the knees. Keep that core engaged and chin in nice and close. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, pull up through the pelvic floor, come up vertebrae by vertebrae, set them shoulders back. Let's go a little bit further if we can, dropping that chin towards the chest. As you breathe out, pull that belly button in, slide the hands towards the shins this time. If you need to soften the knees, that's absolutely fine. That will keep that back in a nice strong position. Belly button pulled in, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, coming up through that vertebrae there, keeping that core engaged. So this time trying to get to the floor if you can, but please only go to where you feel comfortable. Drop that chin. As you breathe out, pull the belly button in. Slide the hands down towards the floor. If you can't get to the floor, just soften your knees so the fingertips are touching there. Keeping that belly button pulled in and that chin in nice and close. As you breathe out, pull up through that pelvic floor. Come up vertebrae by vertebrae, set them shoulders down. So this time to get to the floor and do some work. Let's drop our chin. As you breathe out, pull the belly button in. Slide them hands towards the floor. Keep that core engaged as you walk forwards onto your mat, coming down onto the floor. So the first exercise we're going to do is Cobra, prep, and then into full. Please only do what you feel comfortable with. This is a good exercise to stretch that back and get us moving. So placing the head onto that block there for me, just the forehead, take the hands towards the side of you. Now keeping that core engaged, remember there's a drawing pin underneath the belly button, so we want to keep that slightly lifted, and we want to keep the head in line with the spine. So we're going to start off by taking that deep breath in. As you breathe out here, we're going to start to lift that head and chest away from the block there, keeping that head in line with the spine, and that core engaged. And then if possible, bringing yourself back down towards the block. And then we're going to go again. So let's try and progress a little bit further each time. Let's take a deep breath in again. As you breathe out, lifting up through that head and chest, keeping that core engaged and elbows towards the floor. You should hopefully now feel a connection through the lower back there, that it's getting a stretch, and then come back down towards the block. So we're going to try and progress again if you can. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift up through that head and chest. Notice my head's in line with my spine. Start to lift through them elbows and see if you can come up into that nice long strong arm. Now I haven't tilted my chin and I've kept my belly button pulled in. Try and pull up through the pelvic floor and squeeze the bottom, and then coming back down towards the floor through them elbows towards the block. Nobody's lost their core engagement. Let's take a deep breath in again, one more time. As you breathe out, lift up through that head and chest. Start to push up through them arms there if you can. Give me that lovely long strong arm here, keeping that head in a nice strong position. Pull up through the pelvic floor and squeeze the bottom, and then bring yourself back down towards the block. So moving on from Cobra here, we're just going to warm up the lower back muscles. This time we're going to place our head onto our hand, so we keep our head in line with our spine. But just to say to you before we get going, nice long strong legs, keeping that belly button away from the drawing pin to keep that core engaged. We're going to start with alternate legs, so let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift up through the right leg. Breathing in, you're going to lower. Breathing out, you're going to lift the left. The whole time we are doing this, we are keeping that core in a nice strong position, keeping that head in line with the spine, so that we're using them lower back muscles here as we lengthen them legs away. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lift, trying to keep that in a nice strong position. And if you find this easy enough to do, then if you can, you're going to try and go up into both legs together. If not, stay with the singles. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lift. You will notice the legs don't go up as high, and you've got to try and keep that core engaged so the tummy doesn't collapse. So now we are using them lower back muscles and them bottom muscles as well. 2 to go if you can. Always take a rest when you need to. Then take them legs up and hold and see if you can go into the swing. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth there. And then when you need to take a rest, just bring the legs back down. So we're going to put them 2 exercises together really. We're going to try and use the upper back and then lower back muscles together. We're going to move into shoulder retraction. So starting off, we've got our forehead resting on the block, hands towards the side. You can do as much of this exercise as you want to. You don't have to do all of the progressions. But if you can, we're going to start off by taking that deep breath in. As you breathe out, pull them shoulders down towards the waist there. We've got that core engaged, remember? And then if possible, just let them shoulders drop forwards. Nobody's lost their core engagement, remember? Let's take a deep breath in again. As you breathe out, pull them shoulders back, keeping that head in line with the spine. Breathing in to prepare. As you breathe out, lift up through the head and chest. Now, if you can, keep that core engaged as you lower towards the block, and then release them shoulders forwards. We're going to start to progress. You do what you can. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, pull them shoulders back, lifting up through that head and chest. Keep the core engaged. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, slowly lift them hands away from the floor. Take a deep breath in again. As you breathe out, lengthen forwards. Just check your spine alignments here so that your heads are in a nice neutral position. Bringing them elbows back towards the side. Lower the hands towards the floor. Head comes towards the block. Let them shoulders relax, keeping that core engaged. One more progression if you can. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, pull them shoulders back, lifting up through that head and chest, keeping the core engaged as you slowly lift them arms up off the floor. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, lengthen forwards. Keep that core engaged as you lift them legs up for me. Check the alignment of that spine and then go into the swim. Breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth here. If you can't do the arms, just place the arms on the floor and just do the legs for me. We are working them lower back muscles and then release. And you're more than welcome to try that a few times, but we're just showing you one exercise every time we do this class, and then you can progress to how you feel. So from here, we're going to go into child pose just to give that back a stretch. Leave the arms lengthened forwards. See if you can get the bottom back towards the feet, keeping the core engaged. Hopefully we'll be able to get our head towards the floor. Feel that lovely stretch through the back. And then if possible, we're going to come up onto our hands and knees. We're going to go into our press-ups here. And again, it's a progression to where you feel comfortable. Just go through the keynotes just to make sure you know what you're doing. Hands underneath the chest, knees underneath the hips. We've got that core engaged there. If possible, we're going to keep the weight just in front of our hands, and the elbows are going to go back towards the thighs. So breathing in, you lower towards the floor. Breathing out, you push up. All depending on how much strength you have, you can keep that core engaged. Take the forehead towards the floor. Come back up. And always remember to lead with the forehead there to keep that spine in a nice strong position. Keeping that core engaged, we're going to breathe in as we lower, breathe out as we push up. 2 to go if you can. And again, if you want to do more, feel free. And then all the way back up. This time we're going into lifted child pose where the arms come forwards. The bottom stays up there if possible. Head goes towards the floor. Cores engaged as we bring them armpits down towards the floor. Get that lovely stretch around the chest and back. So just loosening off them backs before we move on to our side legs. In this nice strong position still, we're going to keep that core engaged. We're going to take a deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we're going to lift up through our spine, pulling our belly button towards our spine here, getting that lovely stretch through the back in the opposite direction, and then come back to a neutral position. Again, try to keep that core engaged. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift up through that belly button and spine, and then bring yourself back into that neutral position. So we're going to move on to our side legs. So come over onto your sides for me. Using the block will keep that head in line with the spine, remember. And if you can, bottom arm out in front, hips are stacked on top of each other. This hand comes in front to support that body weight. And we want to remember we're working this part around the middle of our bodies, which we call our powerhouse in Pilates. So what we want to do is remember that drawing pin is underneath the waist this time. So we've just got that slight lift there if we can. We're going to take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, lifting up through them single legs, and then come back down here. It's not about the height, remember, in Pilates. It's about keeping that nice, long, strong leg there. Trying to keep them hips stacked on top of each other. Give me 2 more singles. And then, if possible, we're going to go into the doubles. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lift. Now, doing these doubles here, you are working them waist muscles. So try and keep that core engaged the whole time. Use the breathing. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lift, and try and keep that head in a nice neutral position. You can stick with these if you want to, or you can take it up and hold. Go into banana split. Make sure the legs are both nice and long and strong. You've got that core engagement. Breathe in as you lower here at the bottom. Breathe out as you lift. Try and keep that head in a nice long position there. 2 more for me. And then release. So bring them legs back towards the floor. We're going to this time take the leg up to hip height if possible, and the bottom leg, just to make sure we have got our hips in a nice stable position, we're going to bring that bottom knee forwards.
just because we're not there to check that you're doing this correctly, and I want you to keep some sort of alignment. If possible, breathing in, you're going to extend it just back to give me hip extension. Flex that foot and then bring that leg forwards. So we're now increasing the flexibility through the back of the leg there, remember. So breathe in as you lower, or even extend back. Breathe out as you bring that leg forwards. Having that bottom knee soft helps you to keep yourself in a nice strong position. 2 to go if you can. Trying to increase that stretch and then bring that leg back towards the floor. So bring the knees in together. We're going to go into our clam position. Balls of the feet and heels together. Hips are stacked on top of each other, bottom waist lifted. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out as you lift that knee towards the ceiling. Now we're working this big muscle here at the side of our legs. That helps us stand up nice and strong as we get older, but also helps to mobilise around the hip and pelvis. If you struggle with this, please stick with it. If you are a little bit more advanced, we're going to take that knee up and hold. Bring the foot up in line and try and go into our circles. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you circle. Try and keep them hips stacked on top of each other. What we don't want you to do is to sit back onto your bottom to make it easier. We want that nice strong position, so we're mobilising through the hip and pelvis. And then once you've done 10 in one direction, if possible, you're going to go back the other way. Always remember, if 10 is too much, you do what you can do. It's up to you how many you do effectively. If you need to take a rest, please do so. Breathe in at the bottom, breathe out as you lift. 2 to go for me if you can. And then we're going to bring that leg back down. So we're going to move into some core exercises. And because we've not done anything for a little while here, we're going to go back to basics just to make sure everyone knows what they're doing. So knees are bent and feet flat on the floor. Now if you were to pull your shoulders up towards your ears, you've got no core engagement here, no stability. What we want to try and do is take a deep breath. As you breathe out, let that belly button drop towards the spine. Lengthen them hands down towards the feet, and hopefully you'll feel the stability through the middle part of that body. So we want to get them lower ribs towards the floor if possible, and keep it in that position. So we're going to start off very basic. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, lift the right knee towards the chest. Breathing in, you're going to lower. Breathing out, you're going to lift the left. Now we're going to carry on with this exercise and hopefully keep the back towards the floor. Because in these core exercises, we don't want to use the lower back. We want to use them core muscles here. So keeping that belly button pulled in slightly, we're going to try and progress if possible. So we're going to take that right leg up and hold. Keep the core engaged. As you breathe out, bring the left leg up to meet it. Lower the right foot, then lower the left. Let's try that again. Right leg comes up, core's engaged. Bring that left leg up to meet it. Lower that right foot, then lower the left. 2 more if you can. Keep that head in a nice neutral position. Remember, it is just the core we are working and not the neck. And then this time, once we've done our last exercise here, we're going to bring our right leg up and hold. Keep the core engaged as you bring the left leg up to meet it. And we're going to try and go into toe taps. Now the belly button's pulled towards the spine. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lower. Breathe in as you come in. Breathe out as you lower the other leg. Now you will feel a slight arch go through the back, because as the leg goes towards the floor, that's how it will work. But if you keep that belly button pulled in there, you will keep the strength through the middle part of the body. If you are finding this easy enough to do, you can bring them legs up and turn the toes in, going into the heel tap, where you can extend that leg away just that little bit further to make them core muscles work, but make sure you've got the core strength there rather than using them lower back muscles. Remember, it's about the breathing. Breathe in as you lower, breathe out as you pull in. Really try and make that work, and then bring them knees in. So now we've warmed up them core muscles here, we're going to go into some core exercises, and we're going to start with one of my favourites called single leg stretch. Anyone that's at my classes knows we do this in every session. We've got that them legs in like a tabletop position, but we want to keep the back towards the floor, so just let that spine drop, that belly button drop down towards the spine. Then everyone takes their hands in front of their knees, keeping that belly button pulled in. We're going to take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, one knee comes in, the other leg goes out straight, and then we change. The idea of this exercise is to keep that belly button pulled in so the back stays towards the floor, and we extend them legs nice and long and strong to bring in them core muscles as well. Don't make the mistake of taking the leg too low, because that will make you arch the back. And if you find that this is easy enough to do and you're a little bit more advanced, you can lift the head there just to make that core work a little bit harder. And also you can bring in the hand placement there for coordination as well. Make sure you are breathing, extend that leg nice and long, keep that back towards the floor. If you find it gets too much, you can lower that head back towards the floor and then pull them knees back in. Next exercise is double leg prep, and always start with your prep to make sure you're doing it correctly. This time the hands rest just above the shins there. Make sure that back's towards the floor. We're going to breathe in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're going to slide them hands up to the top of the thighs as the legs go out, and then breathing in, come back in. Now keep that belly button pulled in. Keep that neck in a nice strong position. Use the core muscles here rather than the lower back, remember. And if you are finding that easy enough to do, you can lift the head, go into the same position, but make sure it is the core muscles you are using and not the neck. If you're still finding it easy enough to do, you can bring in the arms as well, keeping that core engaged, extending them legs nice and long, and if you want to, you can bring in some shoulder mobilisation. Make sure them arms don't go too far behind the head, don't put a strain on the neck, and then release. So last core exercise here is called the bicycle, and this time the legs are still in tabletop but the arms lay nice and long along the floor. We keep that belly button pulled towards the spine, and we're going to start here with our single leg stretch legs again. So let's take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, one knee comes in, the other leg goes out straight, keeping that back towards the floor. And then if you feel you can, we're going to start to go up into that bicycle movement. Now that back's resting on the floor, we're extending them legs nice and long, keeping the core engaged. You're more than happy to lift that head, it's up to you. But if it does put a strain on the neck, just lower it back towards the floor. Try and extend them legs up nice and long so we bring in the inner thigh as well. And then take a rest. So now we're going to go into a full body stretch here before we move on to our other side leg. Lengthen the legs out nice and long. Take the arms over the head here. Just point them toes and fingers. Take a deep breath in, and as you do that, pull the belly button towards the spine. Really big stretch if you can. And then as you breathe out here, just let everything relax towards the floor. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in. Pull that belly button towards the spine. Get that lovely stretch through that body there for me if you can. And then as you breathe out, just let everything relax. So we're going to go into our other side leg here. Exactly the same as we did before. Hips stacked on top of each other, legs lengthened nice and long. Hand in front to support the body weight. Remember, we've got that drawing pin underneath the waist. Let's take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, lengthen up through that nice long strong leg. Really try and keep hold of the core engagement as you do this. Remember, it's not the height, it's the length of the leg there. 2 to go. And then if possible, we're going to go into our progression. Both legs together, If that's too much, you stick with the singles. We don't want to take the height through the legs here. We want to keep them nice and long and strong, remember. Really try and make that work. One more time for me. Then if you can, take them legs up and hold. Go into banana split if possible. Keeping them legs both nice and long and strong. Cores engaged. Breathe in at the bottom, breathe out as you lift. If it gets too much, you can go back to the doubles here. And then this time, bring them legs back towards the floor. Take the top leg up to hip height. Soften that bottom knee so you've got stability. If possible, you're going to extend that leg out just behind you. Flex the foot, bring it round in front. Keeping them hips stacked on top of each other. So we're using that core engagement to keep our strength and try and increase the flexibility through the back of the leg there. Really try and keep that in a nice strong position. One more, and then bring that leg back towards the floor. So moving into our clam, bringing both knees in front here, hips stacked on top of each other, bottom waist lifted, balls of the feet and heels together. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you lift. Try to keep them hips stacked and try not to sit back onto the bottom like this. We want to keep that strong position, so we're using just that nice big muscle here at the top. Then if possible, take that knee up and hold. Bring that foot up in line. See if you can go into your circles. Now you will notice that you have more mobility and strength on one side. So if this is your weaker side, please don't worry. We're trying to work both sides equally. Breathe in to prepare, breathe out as you circle. And then we're going to go back the other way. If you need to take a rest, please do so. Try and keep that core engaged as we do this. If it starts to click through the hip, that's fine. It's just telling you that's the tighter side. So just try and keep it mobile, but you may want to take it a little bit smaller. One more time, and then come back down. So we're going to go into some bridge work now for our lower back. So coming down onto the mat for me. Let's just check our posture again. Knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Let's extend our arms down towards our feet to get that nice stability through the middle. We're going to start with our bridge prep. So we're going to keep that middle back on the floor here. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, tilt the pelvis, lift the bottom, squeeze them bottom muscles as tight as you can, just to prepare ourselves to go up into full bridge, and then bring yourself back towards the floor. Let's do that again. Let's take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, tilt the pelvis, lift the bottom, leave that middle back where it is. Just squeeze them bottom muscles nice and tight there. This relieves any tension that just sits above the buttocks, and bring yourself back towards the floor. So we're going to go up into full bridge this time. Let's take a deep breath in again. As you breathe out, tilt the pelvis, lift the bottom and take the hips up towards the ceiling. Now hopefully you're in a nice strong line from your knees down towards your chest. But if you need that little bit more stability, just bring them feet in a little bit closer. May help to lift that bridge up a little bit higher. We don't want to overarch the bridge, so keep the belly button pulled in slightly. Then breathing in, you're going to come down through your upper back, middle back, lower back, bottom. Breathing out, you're going to push up and squeeze. So breathing in, come down nice and controlled. Breathing out, you're going to push up and squeeze. This is your basic bridge here. You're more than welcome to just stick with this to strengthen the lower back muscles. Also very good for toning the bottom and the back of the legs. But if you want to, we're going to try and make that a little bit harder by bringing in a nice spine stretch with that as well. So this time we're going to go up through the bridge. And as you start to lower down through that bridge, we're going to keep that belly button pulled in and extend the arms all the way over the head. Breathing in again, we're going to come all the way up as we breathe out. Breathing in, you're going to come back down towards the floor. This brings in our shoulder mobility as well. If you find it gets too much, just stick with that basic bridge. This just brings in that nice stretch through the spine, but also mobilises the shoulders as well. One more time for me. All the way down towards the floor. As you breathe out, come up and hold. Then if possible, bring yourself down nice and gently. One knee in at a time there, just to give that back a little bit of release. So we're going to go into a nice back stretch here. Place the feet back on the floor for me. Take the arms out to the side. Make sure the belly button's nice and relaxed towards the spine. We're going to take a deep breath in, and as you breathe out, keep that belly button pulled in as you drop them knees towards the side. Try and keep the shoulders towards the floor. Take a deep breath in again. As you breathe out, keep that belly button pulled in. Go all the way over to the other side. Trying to keep them shoulders towards the floor. Then come back towards the centre. So let's finish off with a stretch for today. Take your right leg up towards the ceiling. Nice long strong leg if possible. If you struggle to get that leg straight, just take the leg out a little bit. Try and grab hold of the back of the thigh if possible. And then keeping that belly button pulled in, see if you can pull it towards you. If you are nice and flexible, you can slide them hands up. Ease it in nice and gently. Don't make that foot shake because that means you're overstretching. Feel the stretch down the back of the leg there. Easing it in nice and gently if you can. And then if possible, take that leg across the other knee. Arms go through if you can. And try and grab hold of that other thigh just to feel the stretch around the hip and pelvis. If that's too much for you, you can just take that foot across and maybe just push that knee back a little bit to feel the stretch around the hip and pelvis. Let's try the other leg here. Take the left leg up nice and long and strong. If you find that your leg is bent like this, just take that leg away a little bit and stretch out the whole of that leg. If you can, pull it towards you nice and gently. Remember, no shaking there, just ease it in nice and gentle. And then dropping that leg across for me. If that's enough, you just push that knee back or you grab hold of the thigh and pull it in. Feel that stretch around the hip and pelvis if you can. Then placing that foot back on the floor. See if you can take hold of them hamstrings if possible and come up into a seated position. So just take a moment here for the blood to come back towards the body. Think about your core engagement, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to take the right arm up towards the ceiling. Lengthen up for me if you can to open the rib cage. And as you breathe out, just soften that supporting elbow to get that lovely stretch through the side of the body here. Coming back towards the floor for me. Taking the other arm up nice and long. Lengthen up to open that rib cage. Soften that elbow to get that lovely stretch through that side of the body and then come back towards the floor. If you can, we're going to come over onto our hands and knees. Come up into our box position. Keep that belly button pulled in. Walk the hands back towards the knees. Roll back onto the heels. Keeping that core engaged. See if you can come up slowly through the roller. Nice strong position, and then from this position keep the core engaged, take the arms up towards the ceiling, lengthen up here to open up that spine for me. Nice long strong arms as they come towards the side. Drop that chin, belly button pulled in. Let's see if we've increased our flexibility here. Get towards the floor, chin in for me, core engaged, come up nice and gently. Up to standing if possible. Come back towards the front. We're just going to remobilise before we go. Heels on the floor, sit down into the squat. Nice long strong arms for me. Keeping that core engaged. We're going to take a deep breath in. Arms come up. Hold it here for me. Right arm goes up. Left arm to meet it. Open them fingers. Nice big circle. And again, deep breath in. Arms come up. Left arm this time, right arm follows, open them fingers, nice big circle here. Give me a circle circle of the right shoulder and the left. Right arm goes all the way back and the left. Bring that right arm forwards and the left. Give yourself a clap. So hopefully everybody, that's helped you out a little bit to keep you nice and mobile and motivated for when we return. If you want to join me again in a few days' time, hopefully we can get another class going and maybe with a few more progressions. But for the time being, just stay safe and I shall see you soon.